Episode number 207.
In many cases, it's just easier to physically listen to your conversation or physically to be around your window, and rather than spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of hacking into your computer and just targeting your machines.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I'm fired up today. I love this gentleman's energy and his story. We're so pumped to bring you our featured guest today, Alex Iceman. Alex, are you ready to be real?
I'm ready to be real, my friend. Ready to go.
My man has got an epic story. He's been a professional athlete pretty much his whole life, especially around hockey, folks. And when he realized at some point that his hockey career was coming to, he didn't see the full picture of going to the NHL, et cetera, he decided to actually join in the refereeing space and actually became part of a referee in the starting grounds and worked his all the way up to the professional level in Russia. As well as that, he realized that, hey, just like any sports, you might need to have a backup plan. So my man was actually getting his software engineering degree, and then he moved over to the Bay Area. My man is now doing it all. My man is now the CEO and founder of Genium, which is a consulting firm that helps companies specifically connect with the world-class engineers and getting their projects done, getting these high-end, maybe things that have to do with cybersecurity, things that have to do with a lot of different software. And they are the team that actually makes this thing happen. And he's been doing it now for over 8 years. So my man, we're so excited to have you on the show today. First off, how's your day going today?
Thanks, Travis. It's been fantastic. I had a hockey game last night, had a good sleep and back into it.
That's
This
awesome.
morning. Had my coffee and already had a few meetings, and I'm right here with you right now.
That is awesome, man. And so it's so fun to be able to combine your passion, like you said, your professional hobby now of being a professional referee in the American Hockey League, and as well as be the CEO and founder of a business. It's pretty cool to be able to combine both those things. And then for you, I give you a shout out for never stopping the passion that you have of hockey, because I think that, I know that's probably what keeps you happy and keeps you fired up and energized for your business.
Exactly.
A lot of people quit one, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, I'm too busy with my business, so I'm going to stop being hockey. I think that I give you a lot of credit for keeping that passion, because in this world of we don't have enough time for things, we all have enough time. You just got to make the time, right? And so you've made the time for this professional hobby that now probably gives you a lot of energy, and you're on the ice out there with the guys, maybe not taking the hits that they are, hopefully, but you get to experience that right there firsthand every day. Or when you're refereeing, keeps you on the edge too, right?
Yes, definitely keeps me on the edge.
I bet, man.
Complements business and sports tremendously. I didn't realize how combined and tangled they are, and how they complement each other, and how sport helps me to get better at business, and how business helps me to have very nice and good games and relationship on the ice with all the players and coaches. That's tremendous.
Absolutely. So then tell me into your story of Genium, because I'm so fascinated by this. What gave you the idea to start this business?
So the idea behind starting the business is pretty simple, because I've been a cybersecurity engineer, and I was doing consultancy for companies, and they would come back for more, and the business grew naturally.
Nice.
They would ask for more help. And based in the Bay Area, the price tag for software engineers has been just enormous. And
right.
I was growing here in the Bay Area, but clients would need it more, and they were asking for better prices, because it didn't make sense for them to engage with me long term. And that's what I'm good at, building teams long term. I started experimenting. So I started looking at other locations that might work for me personally and for my quality standard. And I've gone through a lot of different countries, a lot of different nationalities, mentalities, software engineering schools. And over a period of year and a half, I've tried over 7 different countries, and I give out small projects and test out different teams and people and mentality. Right. And Argentina came surprisingly up top of all other countries. So I had a project in Argentina. and I loved it. So it's the similar time zone with the United States, especially with New York. It's pretty much the same time zone all around the year.
Got you.
And they're all very communicative. They love to talk, and that's what's important when you work with remote teams or when you work with guys that are not in the same office. Is that
Right.
the communication is right? And the engineering schools is great, and they have great schools there. So I was able to recruit very, very good engineers there. And since my background is cybersecurity, and not necessarily building encryptions and things like that, but just building processes around high quality and data integrity and making sure that nothing breaks down the road. That's been my credo, and basically that's how I built the team there. And they're at the highest standard, and they're a little more affordable than U.S. market. They're not cheap by any means, but they're more affordable than U.S. market. And I was able to build a great team and great business around that.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And then, so do they also? There's no language barrier. Or are they most of these folks?
That was another benefit of going to Argentina for this.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the immigration from Europe in 50s and 40s came to Argentina and Brazil.
Oh, wow.
And Argentina has a very good language proficiency at schools, and majority of the young population speaks very good English.
Wow.
And they have a European mentality as well. They although they're part of the Latin America, they consider themselves not Latin America, because they consider them a Europe of Latin America, because a lot of Spanish people from Spain and Italy came over about 60, 50 years ago, and they still at the second generation of immigration. So a lot of European mentality and hardworking, communicative, and I just love the mentality, and it fits me. I think it resonates with me personally, and I had a great relationship with all the guys.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing that you were able to create that. And also, shout out to you for obviously testing all those different markets too, because I think a lot of people wouldn't have had that foresight to test. You might have just said, let's go to Thailand or let's go to the Philippines. You hear a lot about the Philippines lately in the last, several years.
Right.
And good and bad, you know what I mean? So, but to be able to take that test, because without testing Philippines, Argentina, China, maybe, or Russia or any of these other countries, you wouldn't know who's the best or what fits best with your vibe. Like you said, I think it sounds like it's also just a benefit to have them on the same time zone and to have them kind of at similar time zone, as you're not having these weird delays of hours, 12 hours ahead or 12 hours behind. Right? Is that a big benefit?
It is a huge benefit for all the guys. And it's pretty much right now, big offices, big companies that we work with, they have multiple floors. And when they communicate, they all communicate over Slack or over Zoom meetings or Hangouts. And sometimes they don't even meet in person. And it's the same thing if their team at our offices in Argentina works the same hours, they just do the same thing as they were on a different floor. And that's been great. And you said it, I failed so many times when I was testing different locations. You couldn't believe. However, I've learned a great lesson in different locations and nationalities have different, strong points as well. You mentioned Philippines. Philippines are, and that goes a little deeper into mentality of people. They're very accommodating, and they want to help, and they're very loyal. And you, when you realize that, that maybe customer support is a great thing to outsource to Philippines,
right?
But maybe software engineering is not the best one, especially if you need high quality
with the talent available and the colleges teaching them, right?
Exactly. So that's been my experience, and Argentina has been one across all points that I was measuring, and that's how I landed in Argentina.
That's amazing. And so then what kind of companies do you typically work with? Is it all different types of verticals? Is there certain types of industries that you're working more in, or is it just kind of everything?
So we're well known for our mobile app development. So we've done great mobile apps and backends as well. So we have backend engineers, but majority of the work we do around mobile apps.
Gotcha.
For iOS and Android. Mm-hmm. And we've helped mid-size and large corporations to get them their mobile apps off the ground or side projects. Right. And if, let's say, an airline comes in and they want to build a product, or they want to add a feature or an integration on the mobile side or on the server side, they would come to us and we would supply them with engineers or build a team for them, or build a project from the ground up, from end to finish.
Gotcha.
Since companies like airlines or some sort of startups around banking, they require an extra sophisticated security audits or security requirements for accounts, passwords, reset, and things like that. So that's what we provide. That's where we come in strong with all those instructions that our guys follow. We ensure high quality standard internally. And I'm a process man. I love processes, and I like simple yet robust process that gives us to high quality results. And that's what I've been focusing on. That's what I've learned throughout my career, that routine and process is important. And as long as you follow that, then results will follow as well.
And so when you were first, or in the beginning years of your business, would you feel like that's what helped separate you to get to where you're at now?
I would say yes. I didn't think about that myself. However, I've gotten feedback from other people that I shared the processes with, or consultants that I would work, or partners that I would work with, and I would impose my process on their team, and they would say, "Wow, you operate like a large corporation because you have all these processes." However, we were 85 people total right now, and we're growing, adding 3-5 people every month. And the processes are important because that's what helps you to scale, and that's what helped me to scale slowly, but at a high quality. So quality doesn't go down. It's similar to airlines. If you look how airplanes are getting turned around when they land, there's a certain process. Every person is responsible for a specific step, and they just do their job, and they have checklists, and that's how we ensure safety here in the United States for air traffic and everything. That we're trying to follow the same mentality. And I'm a big aviation fan as well. I take my private pilot license right now, flying airplanes, and
Good job.
I love that. I love that process of safety and checklists and processes to get good results.
So my little brother is a pilot. He flies for JetBlue now.
Nice.
Boston area. Yeah, he's when he was just a kid. My dad helped him get his private pilot license when he was going to college, which is a shout out to my pops for helping him out with that, because it really helped him get that quicker start than if you were going the military route or Air Force, et cetera, which those guys typically have a little better shot at getting at the bigger airlines, But yeah, he loves it, man. It's just nothing about being up there in the sky. And I personally love now learning more about folks about the different processes they have, even though he's not getting too technical with me.
Right.
Everyone should feel pretty safe on these planes now, because on any given plane, there's basically 3 or 4 different processes they could do. One could fail and they can do another process to land, or do another. And there's multiple backup computers, and there's multiple backup things. If this process doesn't work, there's another process, And so nowadays, especially, especially flying in, I would say, U.S. carriers, the United States standards and regulations, you got to feel real safe flying on these planes nowadays. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them are flying themselves for most of it. But the crazy thing is, like, they have so many processes in play that, like, your safety is at their top priority, obviously, right? I mean, like, if any of these airlines had a plane go down, people will be thinking about flying on that airline again, right? And so I think now they figured it out based on just that one thing, like you say, process. They should not have that. They should not have these backups.
Yes. And, being an aviation fan, I started to implement similar processes in the company and we even have a checklist for pre-flight, taxi.
Oh, nice.
Pre-takeoff, takeoff, climb,
en route, cool.
Descending and landing. And we kind of map our process for projects along that checklist. And I'm actually reading through checklists of airplanes. And because, look, a lot of people thought through that process already. I don't have to invent it from the beginning.
Right.
It's not about different critical stages of missions, whether it's airlines or space or medicine, right? Hospitals also have similar processes, right? Preps in surgery, after surgery. So they're when I've studied them, they're very similar. They have same steps, same checkpoints.
Interesting.
You just name them differently. So being an aviation fan, we kind of have even certain aviation terminology in the company that we follow, and
that's cool.
That helps tremendously because that helps with the quality in the long term.
Absolutely. And one of my biggest questions to you, my man Alex, is this. I was talking to my buddies yesterday. We had a little birthday party, and we're sitting there talking, and I was just thinking, because they're talking about, I forgot, something about viruses or something like that. And I just thought to myself, what's crazy is that, like, on your computer, now, nowadays you're less likely to get a virus, but say 20 years ago, when we first started getting PCs, I remember Pac Bell, when my mom first got a Packard Bell for us. You'd click a weird link or whatever. You'd be downloading some weird file, and all of a sudden you'd be infected with the virus. My curiosity is this, my man. How are our mobile devices, like, being alienated from that? I mean, I'm just so curious to how the viruses and things like that haven't fully infiltrated mobile devices yet.
So the short answer, they have, and
Gotcha.
Android is more known for vulnerabilities around that, especially earlier versions or lower budget devices.
Gotcha.
They're still vulnerable for a lot of different viruses. iOS and Apple have done a better job at this, and this is by architecture and design. They have a concept of sandboxes. So every application, every link you open is in a sandbox, and if you catch a virus, it only can hurt the sandbox and not the rest of the environment. And this way they stay on top of Android. Android is trying to get there as well, but there's more access to that technology and worldwide, and that's why we see more viruses there. But it's getting it's at the top versions and top phones and the latest Android versions, they're getting much better at doing the similar what Apple is doing with.
So it's almost like the maker of the phone is going to protect you in a way.
Yes, and to the point that Windows system was mostly known for vulnerabilities like that, and soon enough they're getting ready for a new version of Windows that will have a sandbox concept as well. So
fascinating.
They're gonna. I'm waiting for Microsoft to release their new version of Windows and see how they address this issue, because that's been a major issue for them as well.
I know, because there was an issue with, like, the Windows. What is the Windows, like, where you can view multiple computer screens, or you can view your computer screen? I forgot what that's term called, but where hackers are able to now just view your screen via this open. It's like a workflow where you can be checking in on your computer, a virtual. I forgot the term, but anyways,
a virtual desktop.
Like a desktop. Yeah.
They're able to just screen share and
right.
See. So here's I'm gonna tell you what security is, and you'll understand why things are happening. So security is just a time period throughout which your data will stay secure. It's not a fact. So
Gotcha.
If somebody decides to attack your computer, you as a person, they will find a way. It's just a matter of time and money. And in many cases, it's just easier to physically listen to your conversation or physically to be around your window and film you, rather than spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of hacking into your computer and just targeting your machines in particular. There are more cost-effective ways to do that old-fashioned way. So unless you're a highly targeted person, then you shouldn't be worried about
them trying to get into your stuff.
Right.
Unless you're like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has got to worry, because someone's trying to figure out what that guy's got going on inside his phone, inside his computers.
Right, and I'm pretty sure he's probably using Apple devices for his stuff.
Right, or has a cybersecurity team too, probably. I would think.
And policies and processes around how he does stuff, what applications he installs, what websites he visits, and that comes back to the processes and what we've talked about airlines.
So in brief, Alex, we should just say this: if it looks weird, don't click it. Right?
If it looks weird, don't click it, or have a web browser that has a sandbox key.
Has a sandbox.
And
are there browsers that specifically have a sandbox feature in them already?
Most of them do have private mode.
Private mode, okay.
Yeah, Firefox does it a little better in terms of security, and there's the Onion routing company, Tor browsers do an amazing job at this. So I would use those too if I need to.
Do you suggest when you're browsing, you should be in like an incognito mode when you browse?
Only if you're trying to do something not super safe. So imagine if you're going to Facebook, there's no concerns, right? But if you're researching something weird and you need to click through a bunch of links.
Got you.
Just to be on the cautious side. That's what I do, and that's the process in the company as well.
Got you.
And
So
guys,
if you're kind of concerned, make sure that it's in an incognito browser. Okay, I got it. That makes sense.
At least
that, right? Well, man, it's fascinating what the world we live in. I think that you are in the driver's seat, my man, for many more success, because obviously more and more businesses need mobile applications. There's going to be new businesses that we never even thought of in 5 years that are going to be building, probably using one of you, a team like yourself, because a lot of times these people are not necessarily programmers. They're just really good salespeople, right? Do you find that that's kind of the future too? A lot of the new upcoming apps and things like that are not necessarily programmers building these things, but actually, business people or salespeople, if you want to call it.
I'm a big fan of the phrase that ideas worth nothing, but execution does.
Right.
So, and aside of salesperson, you also have to have a technical person right next to you. And we typically, when we engage with companies, we make sure they have a product owner or a technical person besides the CEO.
Gotcha.
You said it yourself. CEO is focusing on sales, and there has to be a product owner or technical person on the client side to be focused on the product.
Right.
And then we come in as a technical team, but we need to know all the requirements ahead of time so we can start building it. And we work great with mid-sized companies that have already established that structure in the company with CTOs or VP of engineering, and they just need to augment their team or help with the side project or even the main app. We've been great at working with hardware companies that are done a great job at doing hardware, and now they're trying to monetize their audience on the mobile side and the mobile app. And that's what we've been great helping those companies. They already have the structure, they know what they want, and they just need a very expert team to execute on their requirements, and that's what we do the best.
How long does it typically take on an app project? I'm sure everyone's different, but on average, how long does it take to build an app? If you had everything ready right now.
Well, if everything is ready, the typical turnaround we set is about 5 months off of the kickoff date, and that's where we try to release the first version because iterative process is important.
Right.
It varies. Different companies have different requirements. But if we're talking about smaller startup, 5 months, we're getting it out there because startup needs to get feedback from users. A lot of the times, companies would think that they know what user needs and wants, but that ends up being false, and they need to listen to feedback. And we're trying to get the first version out as soon as possible to start getting that feedback.
Right. You won't know until the users are starting to use it, right?
Exactly. See feedback, what screens they're using, and then asking questions, doing the over-the-shoulder tests, see how they're using the app or the service, and asking questions. Well, would you like to have that feature? Would you want to have this? And they might say, I don't really need that. And you might spend the next 4 months building that feature, but users don't really need it, and you spend a lot of money, time, and
so it's like creating that minimum viable product, right? Creating the MVP.
That's it's all about, and what we're great at building a highly well architect MVP because we think that the most important thing when you go to investors and you pitch your idea or you ask for more money. And the last thing you want to do is to have your app or service crashed right in the middle of your presentation. Yeah. Right. That's where the processes come in. We go through a certain architectural process and set things up the proper way. We have redundancy as the airplanes have on the server side. Make sure that if something goes down, we have redundancy, and there's 2 more servers that can be as a backup right away and not have issues at all. And
I've heard about that though. I've heard about like they're all like in the pitch. They're in the pitch and they're getting ready to go, and then all of a sudden
something's not working.
Something's not working. That's gotta suck.
Yeah.
So sometimes you only get one shot. I mean, when you're raising money to make a good impression on someone, I think you only got one shot.
Look, I know what it means to be in front of people, right? As an official, if something goes wrong, then I know the mental state you're in, and you need to get some extra time to recover. Yeah, if you're in the middle of a presentation, something goes wrong, imagine how you would feel, right? That will be a terrible feeling, and going to ruin your presentation. That's where we're trying to avoid and make sure that we have highest standards.
So you guys create that like a much more reliable, if you want to call it, MVP.
Right.
Just quick and fast, just get it out there, but something that's going to for sure deliver for you.
Right. And what helps is we have a very short phrase that says quality over time.
Oh,
So if we
nice.
have tight deadlines and we need to compromise on quality, we push back and say no. We have to make high quality and move the deadline a little further. Because if we
Gotcha.
compromise it right now and do a quick fix here, then it's going to impact in the long run, and it's not going to be a win-win for nobody. In a few months, it's going to bite us in the back, and
Right.
we'll have issues. So quality over time. That's what we.
Quality. That's awesome. That's a good one. And sometimes I think it's hard for you as the owner to push back.
Well, that's where client selection process is important, and
Right.
we're fortunate enough to select clients that we work with. We have more than enough right now. The pipeline is pretty hot, and now we do interviews with clients, and
Gotcha.
we evaluate the structure, how ready are they, and how committed they are to quality.
Right.
And if they're not, and they're saying, "Look, I just need a hack version of something really quick,"
Right.
and we just refer them to somebody else who does a better job at this, because we're not geared towards
Gotcha.
dirty, fast, and quick, and just get it out there no matter what. We're not
That's
in that business.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Well, at the end of the day, shout out to you for creating such a pipeline, because every business is, all wanting to find a pipeline. So you're doing something right, my man. Obviously, it's the work at the end of the day. I already know it's the work and your mindset too. I can already tell having that process, keeping those consistent, and also all the things you're doing with the hockey too. I think being on the ice and feeling that, feeling the energy of those players, that probably gives you that athletic, competitive spirit too in your business, I bet.
It does, and I say it over and over again. I didn't realize how business and professional hockey, or professional sport, correlates to each other.
Right.
On the ice, I deal with 20 players from one side, 20 players from the other side. They're all professional adults. There are the high emotions, and it's an intense game. So you have to manage those emotions, right? You have to find the right communication tool to talk to those players or coaches that are might be upset, right? But you have your quality standard, and you have to translate that quality standard to coaches and tell them, this is my standard. That's how it's going to be, because I'm concerned about player safety and being fair in the game. Those are my top two priorities. I'm not going to compromise on my face-offs or icings or anything that I have my standards. Same in the company, right? I'm not going to compromise quality over time.
Right.
So the same on the ice, and you have to find the words to do it quickly and convince them as well that you're right, and prove them that you're right, and show the results.
And then be consistent, like you said, just being consistent too is what brings that too as well, right? Like pushing back and saying, hey, you know what? It's this way because we're taking care of the players. We want player safety. So this guy can't hit the other guy over the head with the hockey stick.
Sometimes we have to tell them that, look, the game doesn't need it. I don't think it's safe. And if they have a questionable call, and sometimes they ask for me to come over and talk to them, and I would say, look, I don't think it was a safe environment. I don't think the game needed it, even though it might be a border call. And but I would tell that, look, I care about the player's safety, and if I allow those things happen in a game, that's not going to contribute to the player's safety, and that's my standard. Same, and I was amazed that in business, when you set the same quality standard in the same process, so here's the process, here's how we do things, here's what we expect, and we're super happy to help you if you accept our terms, because we have a proven process of getting high quality results.
That's awesome.
If you need it, we'll help you. If you need something else, we'll refer you to somebody else, because it's not going to do good for you to try to fit into our processes and for us to compromise on our quality and standards and values.
I think that's fascinating. I think that is absolutely fascinating. And I think that I know someone on this show is going to take that and run with it. Even if it's myself, I'm like, hey, this is it's so true. You have to have the process, and then make sure that this person fits your process. If they don't, refer them out, because it's going to be a headache for yourself, and you're compromising on your standards. So I love that, my man. But now we're about to take you into our top 10. Are you ready, Alex?
Now let's go.
Let's do this. Apple or Android?
I would say Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
Probably Netflix.
Instagram or Facebook?
Neither of those.
Okay. Chicken or steak?
Steak.
Laptop or a smartphone?
Laptop.
Spotify or Pandora?
Spotify.
Movies or video games?
Movies.
Reading books or listening to books?
Listening to books. I'm a terrible reader.
Stocks or real estate?
Real estate.
Oceans or lakes?
Oceans.
Yeah. And when you wake up in the morning, you're looking yourself in the mirror, you're getting ready for the day, Alex. Why do you love being you?
Because I always think catching up that guy in 10 years and just striving to be better every day and just be grateful every day for the opportunities I have.
Ooh. And do you have a certain type of routine when you start your day?
Yes, I do have a very strict routine that comes from sports. It's the same breakfast, same type of at around the same time, 2 eggs, sunny side up, a hot tea, a very strong one, and then some sort of routine stretching, and then getting into it. Depends on the day. On the hockey day, I have very strict routine that's almost goes by hours, by minutes, and it has been the same for 17 years that I've been doing hockey. And business similar, so I apply similar concepts. I have routines, and my life is built around routines, checklist routines, and that's what ensures
success.
Helps me to maintain the body, being successful, and just maintain that high quality of everything that I do.
Consistency too. If you don't have those processes or routine, you're going to have a hard time being consistent.
That's true.
So I think that's a huge thing for you. Is it like that just keeps your consistency going, my man? Do you think you'll ever retire?
No, I hope not.
Absolutely.
I'll hope I'll die doing something that I really love and passionate about, because I don't believe in retirement.
Die on the ice.
No, well,
not on the ice, but
that I don't want to do. That would be a big, because look, they would have to stop the game, and there will be a terrible impact on the players and just league. I wouldn't want to do that, but
in the grind somewhere, we'll be in the grind somewhere.
Right, somewhere doing something around. Well, hopefully around my family will be around for that.
Absolutely. Do you have a skill you want to master? Is there something coming into the new year you're looking? I'm going to get better at this. I want to work.
So first, I'm getting my private pilot license.
Oh yeah, that's right, dude. That's awesome.
For a month, and I also write music, and I love.
Oh really?
Yes, I play piano and I play saxophone, and starting to play
Alex. That's awesome.
So I write music, and I started doing that more and more. I would love to do more of these this year, and committing a certain time of my day to sit down and write music more.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like anything. If you can find that if you can put it in your day and have that time, it could only impact your other businesses, because you get that more creative side out of you maybe too.
That's what I'm trying to do. Just explore different things and see where, because it's always on and cross pathing different things, like, writing music, flying airplanes. You might find something in the middle that nobody else sees or feels, and that can help everything else.
That is cool. Do you envision yourself having your own plane?
That's the plan. Yes, that's the plan. My dream, or I'd rather say a goal, is to fly over Atlantic Ocean over to Europe and pilot the airplane myself. So for that,
nice.
You need a twin engine plane, either a small jet or a small twin engine propeller,
like a Cessna.
Like a Cessna, or there's a few models that I'm looking at, but that's probably down the road in about 2 years. I need to get about 1,000 or 2,000 hours in before I can fly something like that. And insurance is the big thing. Insurance allows you to fly certain airplanes when you have a certain amount of hours under your belt.
Right. Well, you're going to reach that goal. I already know you. And just from this small interview with you, I already can tell everything you do, you have a routine, and you're going to make this happen. So that's awesome, man, that you will do that one day. You will fly the Atlantic Ocean all the way to Europe. That would be fascinating. Would you fly over like Iceland, or how would that go?
That's exactly it. You go through Canada, you go through Greenland first, and then you go through Iceland and Great Britain, and you see all those glaciers, and it's beautiful. I've seen those footages. It's just amazing.
Incredible from the sky like that. I only can imagine. I remember my brother telling me about that, like the map that you would do if you were to fly like a Cessna or something like that. I remember him saying that now. Do you have a favorite app that you like using on a daily basis, or a podcast you listen to?
So the favorite app, there's so many. The favorite app for me right now is my Gmail, and
yes,
all the coding tool that I still code. We have internal products at Genium that we're working on, and I still do code. So I use a lot of coding apps. But Gmail, meetings, my phone, and coding apps. Those are specific to me. I do look at Instagram once in a while.
The Gmail app has gotten good over the years.
I use so many different apps because I research them and see what the industry is doing and where things are going. So I'm constantly installing new apps and just checking them out and see where things are.
Right.
What's the state of the tech right now and what's available.
I love the thing on the Gmail app is like the responses, when it'll predict you the response now.
Yep, that's one of the AI component starts to save your time.
Oh my God, yes, it's insane. It's like, it said exactly what I want to say. Perfect, let's do this. Saves you 10 seconds, but hey, those 10 seconds all add up to doing something you like.
Right, 10 seconds. What is it? 1 minute a day saves you 6 hours a year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to think that, actually, when you really do, when you think that. Because then people say they never have time for anything. Like, well, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute, and then it adds up to 6 hours, what you can achieve in 6 hours.
Oh, yeah. Imagine if you took 10 minutes.
Right.
That's 60 hours now.
60 hours, yeah.
It's insane. So be real for me tonight. If you could sit down with anyone in the entire world and they were going to come to you, who would it be?
Alive or dead?
Doesn't matter.
Probably Leonardo da Vinci.
Ooh, da Vinci, man. Oh, my God. Do you think he would ever have imagined how his artwork would have transcended generations and centuries? It's going to, live on forever.
I think he wasn't thinking about this, but I think he was thinking long term, and he would imagine things that are greater than his inventions. And it's just a beautiful, curious mind. And I feel that he probably would imagined something of that sort, but not particularly what happened. But you never do. When you create stuff, you don't really think how it's going to end up in time. You just create and hope for the best and enjoy the process.
Absolutely. But they say like just like some of these artists, they never would have ever, like, they didn't get paid like the paintings are getting paid now. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things, just fascinating how with art, like you said, you just create it and put it out there and you don't know what's going to happen from it, like music or like anything.
Off to the next thing, right?
Yeah, off to the next thing and just keep creating. And it's just fascinating. I love the creator's mind. Where is the best place to find more about you or the business? If someone's interested in learning and thinks that they're a good fit with you guys and they like what you're saying, where's the best place for them to find more about you?
I'm very open on LinkedIn, so connect with me on LinkedIn, send the message. Instagram, I'm right there 24/7. I can reply there right away. Website, genium.io. Feel free to fill out the form and all different sorts of communication. But I'm very active on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the best ways for you guys to connect, or just talk to you, and then you will give me my email to the guys.
Absolutely, hit me up, and I will be definitely getting you the email. Are you finding that LinkedIn is just a great place for your business too, as far as like your prospects and the people that you're wanting to work with, or the people that are working searching you out?
I think it's a great starting point of conversation. As I said, we do interview our clients. We're trying to understand if we're a good fit. So right now we have more than enough, and we're growing at a good pace. We're welcome to help anybody who needs help. And LinkedIn has been a great tool for prospecting. And we started our expansion to Spain market and Israel.
Oh, wow.
And LinkedIn has been very helpful in that regard.
And the hiring process too, or also the outreach?
Both.
Oh, nice.
Both.
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
LinkedIn is a little bit expensive on the hiring side, but on the lead generation is a very good tool.
Cost efficient. Absolutely. Well, folks, you've been hanging out with my man, Alex Iceman and Travis Too Tall and Huff. I want to thank you again for your time today, and let's keep being real. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Real-Time Reputation. Do you have results and reputation that you need to uncover and find out in your business? Do you need more reviews and positive reviews to be showcased on your website? Well, now's the time. Check out Real-Time Reputation on Google, and let's get going. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.